Welcome to Alberta Conservation Association's Harvest Your Own podcast, the resource for everything hunting, navigating through the field, the butcher shop, and the kitchen. Life is all about great food. Let's get started.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Brad Fenson, an avid outdoor enthusiast who has worked as a freelance journalist, photographer, and public speaker for over 3 decades. I have hunted, fished, and foraged all my life and hope to share my passion for the outdoors. Along the way, I want to encourage everyone to harvest wild proteins and enjoy the satisfaction of providing the next meal for your family. Our goal is to educate, entertain, and inspire individuals to get outdoors and create a connection between food, health, and your future meals. Welcome to Harvest Your Own. Today we're talking about some very unique and special opportunities in Alberta, the Minister's Special License. And today we have Todd Zimmerling from the Alberta Conservation Association here to fill us in on the details and tell us about their role in this unique raffle that runs in Alberta.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Thanks for having me on. This is the first year that Alberta Conservation Association has run the Minister's Special Raffle, and essentially we were approached by the government about 6-8 weeks ago now because although they were able to get the auction side of the Minister's Special License off earlier in the year, they weren't able to get the raffle going on time, so they asked us to step in and give them a hand this year. So we have been trying our best to get the news out that, in fact, there is a raffle available for resident hunters if they want to get an opportunity to win one of those draws that often take years to draw if you're going through the normal draw system.
Yeah, and these are special opportunities. Like they call them Minister's Special License, and this all started back in 1995, where they came up with special hunting permits that were auctioned off in the States for bighorn sheep and elk. The same opportunity was presented for Alberta residents as a raffle, and it has grown over the 17 years. It's raised millions of dollars, but Alberta residents are the only ones eligible for the raffles under the rules. And there's a bighorn sheep, there's elk, there's mule deer, there's 2 moose permits, 2 antelope permits, and a turkey permit. Or is there 2 turkey?
Just 1 turkey.
Just 1.
Yep.
Anyways, great opportunities, and a lot of species you could wait a lifetime to draw a tag for, or be able to hunt year-round. Like, this is not just the regular hunting seasons, but it's an opportunity to pursue these species for an entire year.
Yeah, and essentially in any WMU that would normally have a hunting season for that species as well. So yeah, it is definitely a special license, no doubt about it. And I look at things like a turkey license right now. To get drawn for turkey, you're looking over 15 years to get drawn for a turkey at this point. So to get this draw would be, great. Otherwise, someone my age might not hunt a turkey again the rest of my life. So, I'm a little shocked we haven't sold out on things like the turkey license so far. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, maybe a lot of people haven't heard. It is a little bit late getting out of the gate this year, but raffle tickets are on sale until August 10th.
Yes, August 10th. The draw will be August 11th. Yeah,
right. And that's more or less to coincide with the hunting season. So whoever wins these opportunities, they can make some plans. And, let's face it, if one of us won one of these, we'd want to be really creative and know all our opportunities and advantages we could to really take advantage of that permit.
Yeah, the license itself will start as of September 1, and then like you say, you'll have 12 months to be able to go on your hunt, and so hopefully that gives people enough time to plan where they want to go and what they want to do. But yeah, you're right. You win something like this, then you certainly want to step back for a second and figure, well, where do I want to actually go with this license? When do I want to hunt it? That kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's really morphed over the years because it started with sheep and elk, and originally it was an extra month opportunity after the regular season, and that was still very productive. I mean, we had sheep that set record sales for permits in Alberta. I believe the top one was $400,000 US.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah,
there's some huge sheep shot over the years that are still right in the top 5 of the record books. So it is a unique opportunity, and they've expanded it. Like, it's hard to understand how an auction can generate so much money for conservation and education, but the sheep and the elk permits over the year have done that, and that's why they added the new species. So mule deer was added probably about 10 years ago, but the moose and the pronghorn permits are fairly new. Same with the turkey.
Yeah, moose, pronghorn, turkey just been added, yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So any ideas what, this is a great opportunity for hunters, and it's really easy to get excited. If I won one, I don't even know where I'd start, but great opportunity, but it also supports conservation. Do you have any idea what kind of funds it has raised over the years?
Well, don't quote me, but I've heard a number thrown around close to $9 million over the years between the auction and the raffle funds. So
yeah,
it's been great.
I read that too, about 9.5, and looking back, some years raised over $1 million in a single year, which was pretty special in itself. So the types of projects that it funds?
Yeah, a wide range of different projects. When I sort of flipped through the list of previous projects before I was going to do this podcast, I knew this question would come up, and I better know what are some of the projects. But everything from doing work on elk in the Yahatinda has been funded through the special license, to the pronghorn fencing project, which I think a lot of people know about, where they've been removing basically barriers to pronghorn migration and putting up wildlife friendly fencing. Those are some major ones. A lot of different habitat work has been done, replanting habitat, and going, when I look at what we're looking at for issues right now in the province, I see these funds could be put towards things like dealing with the MOV outbreak for sheep. I mean, in my mind, that's top of my mind for an issue that funds could be put towards, as well as CWD problems with mule deer. ACA has started a program to translocate turkeys into the province, and I can tell you extra funds would help us get that many more turkeys into the province. So those are all ideas that I've heard floated already as to potentially these funds for this year and the coming years might go to really important projects like that. So a lot of different work going on, and has been funded and will get funded going forward for sure.
Yeah, I guess that's an important message for hunters. This is a really unique opportunity to win a hunt of a lifetime that you cannot obtain any other way except going to the States to buy one at auction. But the real beauty of it is you're supporting conservation at the same time and investing your raffle dollars back into the resource that we love so much, whether it's conservation, education, research, and other things. Everything that we do to support this raffle is going to come back to pay us dividends somewhere in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've sat on, for those who aren't familiar, the money is generally given out. So the money comes in from the raffles and the auctions, goes into a pot, and then generally a committee of stakeholders sits down and looks at, okay, how are we going to divvy this money out? And usually it's through a grant program of some type. So I've sat on that granting committee many years, and I think what's important to note from the point of view of the funds raised is usually when we might give a grant for, let's say, $30,000, but the project is probably $100,000. So we're multiplying that money. It's not just a $30,000 project. We funded a $100,000 project. Other granting agencies have put in money as well. So we're really able to multiply the money that hunters are providing through this raffle and through the auction. So it's having great impact, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's a really important fact. The conservation community is very good at leveraging funds. So this is hunter-based dollars again. And hunters in Alberta are known for supporting conservation.
Absolutely.
I know years ago you did a community tour and asked people what they thought about increasing the levies on hunting licenses. What was the response?
Well, basically, hunters said they got no problem with more money going into the resource as long as that's where it was going. So if we could show them that it was going back to the resource, they were willing to support a levy increase. And we went ahead and did that and got a lot of support.
Right, and that's why I give the background for this minister's special license. I think if the average hunter listening to this, or anyone aspiring to hunt, or even just somebody that loves wildlife heard this, they'd say, wow, this is a great opportunity to try to win a unique opportunity, but look at the things we're supporting, and those dollars are leveraged to go even further to advance what I love to do in the outdoors, or what I hope to encourage my family to take part of as they grow up as well.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a great opportunity to get a chance for a hunt of a lifetime, but at the same time, if you don't win, well, you still win in the fact that the money at least is going to something that will support your habit of wanting to hunt.
Absolutely, and I think that's the case for anything that's run through the Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission, is that it's a limited opportunity to win, but the funds are restricted and used where they should be. So that's really important to know, that if you buy one of these raffle tickets, your dollars will be put to good use and help you somewhere in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. our chief finance officer has had to take a look at the rules, and she's making sure that we're going to be able to follow them on. And there's a lot of restrictions to make sure those funds are put to what we say that they're going to be under the Raffle rules for sure. Yeah.
Now, when this the Minister Special Licenses first started for sheep and elk, there was an earmarked portion of each of the proceeds that had to go back to that species. Is that still the case?
Yes, it is. Yeah, under this year's agreement with the government, same sort of thing, in that 60% of the funds raised through any particular species raffle have to go back to that species. So whatever we raise for sheep, 60% it must go back to sheep at minimum. It can all go back, 100% can go back to sheep, but at minimum 60% has to.
And that's a good message. You brought up the fact that there has been some lungworm issues in Alberta, and here's a good chance for hunters to step up to make sure that we can address those, that we don't have bigger issues going into the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of various issues that, I know stakeholders have been raising. Some people have concerns over moose numbers in particular areas. So these funds could potentially go towards supporting research on what is going on with the moose numbers. Is there something we can do there? And like I said, the sheep, mule deer, CWD, all those kinds of things. I see these funds being critical to helping us deal with some of these bigger issues that are going on for sure.
Yeah, and the turkey transplant, like we had one years ago, which gave us our initial population, and there was some work done this spring, and birds were brought in from British Columbia.
Yes, yep.
And I know that there's plans to expand that, extend it, try to create more turkey populations throughout Alberta, maybe some different species that are winter hardy. So there's lots of opportunity to grow that population so we don't have to wait 15 years to get drawn.
Yeah. That would be, bizarrely, our goal would be to, essentially make the turkey raffle pointless, because we would have so many turkeys that nobody wants to bother spending $20 because you can just get a license over the counter. Now, we're a long, long ways from that, but that would be an ultimate goal of mine for sure.
Yeah, and it seems like a long ways away, but that's how all of the states started.
Yeah.
And that's how Manitoba and Ontario started with their populations, and they have general seasons now. So, again, support things like the Minister's Special License, and projects like that can get underway in Alberta, be done properly, and it'll hopefully advance hunting for all of us in the future. Yeah,
and it's, we'll take a little tangent on the turkeys, but right now it looks like, we brought in close to 200 this past year from BC, but talking to BC and a number of states, we can probably get 2 to 3 times that many, but the truth is we can't afford to do it right now. So if we had the funds, then we could have a significant impact on the population fairly quickly. So that's the kind of project could be supported for sure.
Yeah, so we did mention that 60% of the proceeds from any one raffle goes back to that species. So if you're interested in hunting turkeys, where can they go to buy a ticket?
Yeah, so they can go online just to www.mslalberta.com, or if you can't remember that, go to the Alberta Conservation Association website. You can track it down there as well. And you should see, hopefully, posters in a bunch of different places. We've got them up at the fishing holes and Cabela's and Cycle Works down in Calgary as well. And you can just scan it right on the sign when you walk by and buy your tickets as you walk into one of those stores as well. So, if you can't remember any of that, give me a call at ACA, and I'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, my point is it's very easy to go online nowadays and do
Absolutely.
that. If you're technically challenged, get someone to help you buy some tickets. And if you look at the number of tickets sold, there's actually really good odds of getting drawn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not talking a lot of 649 odds here.
Right. Yeah. And I think the problem is, or maybe it's not a problem, let's call it a challenge, is that it's a little later getting out of the gate this year. The word hasn't got out. There hasn't been a lot of buzz. It's the first year ACA has taken on the Minister's Special License. So it's important to get the word out, and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So create some awareness, get people to go online. You got till August 10th, like we said, and, pick a species. What do you want to help in Alberta? And that's the way to look at a raffle is, what do you want to help? Do you want to help sheep, elk, mule deer, moose, pronghorn? I have to admit I bought one of each.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Or buy every one of them and see how you go for sure, yeah.
It's funny because I had some discussions with some friends. We were looking at the stats in terms of how many tickets were sold on each, and they're like, wow, like some of these don't have a lot of ticket sales. We actually have some pretty good odds. They're like, if I bought 5 tickets, I actually statistically have a chance. And he started looking at it. It's like, wow, yeah, this is pretty unique. This is very unique. I mean, go down to the auctions in the States and pay in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for some of these permits, and look at what you have a chance to do here in Alberta with a raffle open to residents only. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and one thing to remember as well is that if you win and you decide that you don't want to go after turkey, but your brother does, you can transfer that tag to your brother or me if you want, a friend. Doesn't have to be your brother.
Call a friend.
Yeah, call a friend. So that's available this year as well. That's something that was brought in, I think, a couple of years ago.
That was a change, because for years it was that you couldn't transfer the permit. It was if you won it was yours only.
Yeah. Yeah. So and to be clear, it's for no gain. It can't be for any type of gain. So you can't sell it or anything like that. But certainly if it's something that, you decide that, well, your dad always wanted to do this and I've won it, so I'll give it to Dad for a really great Christmas present. Well, you can do that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. I bet if your dad's listening, he's written that down.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
This podcast is produced for Harvest Your Own, a program dedicated to those who want to reconnect with food and health through their experiences outdoors. HarvestYourOwn.ca is a resource for individuals to learn more about hunting and the outdoors. There's information to get you started and ensure that your compass stays pointed in the right direction to be successful. Where's your next meal coming from?
Let's have a look at some of the individual species and talk about why it's so unique and what the opportunity really means. We'll start with sheep because it has raised more money through the MSL than anything else. You go down to the auction in the States. I've been down to the Wild Sheep Foundation dinners when they auction them off, and it is crazy. I mean, there's some people there with some really deep pockets that are looking for an opportunity that's once in a lifetime. And I've been down there when the permits sell for $250,000. So,
right.
Right now, non-residents coming to our province are paying upwards of $40,000 US for a hunt for a bighorn sheep. Alberta is one of the few jurisdictions in North America where you can still buy a sheep tag across the counter. So I like to sort of flaunt that in the face of some people when I'm down in the States because they can't believe it. They have draws where they might wait a lifetime to get one opportunity. So what I'm getting at is the opportunity to hunt sheep here is very unique. We do have some draws, and the wait times on them are upwards of 20 years. Some of them you may never get drawn before your name comes up or never get the opportunity. There's the 408 sheep and a number of them. Yeah. Anyways, you win this, you can hunt any of those zones. You don't have to wait for a draw or a lifetime, and you can still buy a regular sheep tag that year.
Yeah, that was one of the things that when I was first talking to the government about this is to, because ACA had never really run it before, so I hadn't really looked closely at the details. I figured I'd do that once I won myself. But yeah, the fact that you technically could draw a species through the regular draw program and you could get your draw through winning the raffle. Now, I'd say if that happens, you're a pretty darn lucky person, but yeah, it's a possibility for sure. Yeah, the difference would be is, for sheep, for instance, your raffle draw would allow you to hunt, like you say, any of those WMUs, and it's probably one of those species where being able to hunt a little longer in the year might give you a significant advantage, and you can pick the weather window you want and wait to the right time before you want to start hiking up that mountain, as opposed to being confined to specific times of the regular season.
Right. The fact that you can hunt them year round is a huge advantage. You don't have to be up there when the snow's blowing, waiting for the rut to occur, hoping sheep come out of the park. You could actually go up in the summer on the summer range when it's nice, warm, take a couple buddies with you to make sure that they have strong backs to help you pack it out.
Yep.
That started in the States where they had the governor's permits and they'd offer them for the whole year. And people really took notice of that and paid more money for it because it is a unique opportunity. Sheep are migratory. Weather affects their movements a lot, but being able to have that permit for the entire year is bigger than an opportunity to draw any tag in Alberta for sheep.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess one of the things I want to stress is there's been some people that complain that it's an issue for the sheep population that they could be hunted 12 months a year. Well, we're talking one sheep for the raffle, right. One sheep for the auction. We're not talking everybody up the mountain shooting at sheep all year round. It's just two sheep we're talking about the entire province of Alberta. So it is not having a population impact on anybody.
No, and let's face it, if it raises hundreds of thousands of dollars and we could stop disease issues with sheep that are currently a challenge, what a bonus would it be?
That's definitely worth it.
For the price of 2 sheep that are very mature old rams and probably at the end of their life cycle, it's a pretty good trade.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Yep. So.
Let's talk about elk next. We had a bow hunter here just east of Edmonton a few years ago, arrow a bull elk that is the new world record non-typical.
Yes, yep.
He watched it all summer. What if you had one of these permits and could hunt year-round? You start looking at antler growth in the spring, you find bulls, they're not pressured, they're out in the open, out in the fields, different places of the province. There's areas down south where you're going to wait 12, 13, 14 years to draw a tag. Same with some mountain zones, but the elk permit is really unique as well. And Alberta has great genetics. We have shot some huge elk. If you go to the record books, you'll see right away that Alberta has grown and continues to grow record quality elk.
Yeah, I keep reading about it. I never get to see them myself, but yes, there's no doubt about it. We have good elk populations, good elk genetics, and yeah, in my mind, that's the one I would like to win is an elk permit, because I rarely get to see a bull elk once the season actually opens. So I would hope that maybe outside the season I get a better opportunity. But yes. They're elusive creatures, so any advantage you have over them would be great when it comes to the hunting season, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I bring it up. It's not the fact that you're chasing elk when another 40,000 licensed hunters are out there. You're welcome to go out during those times and take advantage of the rut or, early winter patterns that they might be in when they're feeding. But elk hold their antlers long into the winter. They often still have them in March, and that really is an extended season when they've calmed down and aren't being chased by everyone. So, again, a very unique opportunity that very few people are ever going to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you raise a good point. They hold their antlers into March, but they do drop off. So for anybody who's concerned that this is a 12-month hunting season, I guess someone could go ahead and shoot a bull elk when it doesn't have antlers on. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that, but I would say that's highly unlikely that they're going to be much hunting. Maybe scouting, but probably not much hunting through the rest of the year. So.
Well, elk taste so good that they'd be worth putting in the freezer anyway.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
You'd win again.
Yep, for sure.
Yep. Yeah. Alberta mule deer. Mm-hmm. A bit of controversy in the last couple of years about how to manage them, but the bottom line is it's a sleeper again in terms of quality. Our mule deer have huge bodies and huge antler potential as well. So, we look at the record books again. Every year there's numbers of mule deer that score over 200 Boone and Crockett inches. And most hunters aren't always interested just in trophies, but that's what kind of makes the MSL unique. You and I are both our meat hunters too. Most of the time, if we draw a tag, we hold up our fingers and thumbs and look at them and square them up and say, yep, that one will fit in the freezer.
Yep, exactly.
But on an opportunity like this, it really is a once-in-a-lifetime to shoot a mule deer that anyone would dream about. Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. And like you say, those animals are out there in the Alberta landscape for sure. Having a little bit longer season, a little bit more time, just give you that more opportunity to maybe close on that animal you've seen many times but never got close enough because it was the middle of hunting season, like you say, when they're being pressured so much, so that much more wary about it. So
absolutely,
yeah, it's mule deer. I think, like you say, in this province, it's something that I don't think, because we live here, I don't think we recognize just how great the mule deer are in the province itself. We're spoiled, I would say, to some extent, for sure.
Right, and people that are avid hunters and follow the draws and the stats and the hunter success rates and stuff know that it's getting longer and longer to draw a mule deer tag too. There's lots of zones. Like, I'm a priority 7 and I still haven't drawn, and looking forward to the day I do, but it's a long wait. Yeah, for sure. And some of those WMUs, there's a lot more hunters than there are big mule deer, so that's certainly an issue. And I mean, it's a combination of things, but a big part of it is just the interest. People that realize that you've got some nice deer hanging out in those WMUs, so everybody wants to go to them. So it's sort of a catch-22 on the hunter side of things. Yeah, this is a pretty easy talk to do because we are spoiled in Alberta. Whenever I travel and I hunt North America and people find out I'm from Alberta, everyone's wish is to come to Alberta. It's part of their dream. It's like, oh man, you live in Alberta? What? I always dreamt of going up there to hunt mule deer or elk or bighorn sheep. we live in a place where we're spoiled. We can still buy a tag across the counter every year, and there's opportunities, and we can put in for draws and draw some fantastic chances to hunt as well. And the MSL sort of takes it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a cousin who comes out from Ontario every fall to hunt waterfowl with me and my family, and he would give anything to move out here. He cannot believe. I mean, we're out hunting waterfowl, but he spends all his time looking at all the deer walking across the field while we're hunting water. He can't believe the number of deer running around in Alberta compared to southern Ontario where he is, and the size of them. I mean, they don't have mule deer back there, so when he sees a big mule deer, it looks that much bigger for him, for sure.
Anyone on the eastern side of North America has a dream of shooting a mule deer. So.
Yeah.
This podcast was made possible by Alberta Conservation Association and the Harvest Your Own community. If you're interested in harvesting your own food, there's a comprehensive collection of information to gain insight and knowledge. Head to the field, harvest your own protein, prepare it, and taste the results. HarvestYourOwn.ca is a library of information from getting started and geared up to processing, butchering, and cooking wild game to make the connection between health and food.
2 moose permits. How long has it been? Like, have they always had 2? I know it's a new addition to the raffle itself, but
yeah. So the reason they went with 2 moose permits is because last year there wasn't a moose permit for residents in the raffle, so they're trying to make up for that. So the even number of auctioned permits versus raffled permits essentially is what we're doing. So
right.
Yeah.
So take attention, people. 2 moose permits means double your chances to win.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. So a great opportunity. And Alberta's kind of unique. If you look at different subspecies of animals, Alberta actually has the Canadian moose and a subspecies called a Shiras moose.
Yes.
So everything south of the Bow River is considered a Shiras moose. And again, this raffle is a really unique opportunity. If you've ever wanted to hunt a Shiras moose, you win the MSL. There you go.
Yeah, and it takes a long while to get drawn down south for one of those moose, for sure. So
absolutely, that's one of the longer draws in the province.
Yeah.
So the fact that there was 2 permits, I did buy 2 of those permits, or 2 of the raffle tickets.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, the rules say you can win both because the basically the lottery rules say, well, we can't exclude you if we have 2 draws for something, and you bought 2 tickets, you can win both.
Talk about a first world problem, having 2 moose to fit in your freezer.
You would have a lot of friends, I'm quite certain, right away. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
The toughest decision would be to go for Shiras and Canada moose, or just go to where you're most comfortable hunting.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, that'll be a nice podcast when you have that person on to talk about how they're going to make their decision as to where they're shooting their moose. So, yeah.
And then antelope is 2 permits as well, obviously making up for last year.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Same sort of deal, that to make sure that the resident hunters have as many opportunities as the non-residents for these special permits. Yeah.
Yeah, I might age myself, but 25, 30 years ago, I would draw an antelope permit every year. There was very little interest, not a lot of hunters that wanted antelope. Man, has that changed.
Yeah.
You know, it's now a 15-year wait, and they're predicting that it's going to go to 20 within a couple of years.
Yeah.
So another great opportunity to get out and hunt something that's really hard to get a permit for. Yeah, and anybody who's been down south during the hunting season, that sometimes access can be an issue because, the reality is they got a lot of hunting squished into a very small time frame, and so the landowners understandably start to get a little annoyed and frustrated, and it becomes difficult. So the ability to potentially hunt outside of that window where everybody else is there might increase your chances of being able to find a landowner who's nice enough to say, yeah, sure, come on, you're the only guy around right now. So that, I would say, that's just adds to the how good this permit actually would be for you. Yes, it certainly has lots of potential value in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard the numbers are actually pretty good this year, and they had pretty good conditions over winter in Alberta, and the spring growth was really good, so they had good nutrition, had some moisture down there first in the spring, unlike a lot of the rest of the province. So everything I've heard locally says that they should be in really good health and should have some good horn growth on them.
Oh, awesome. The last one is Merriam's Turkey. We've already talked about expanding their populations and hopefully eventually using some funds from MSL to get a general season. And I hope and pray that that's going to happen someday. I'd love to see my my kids and grandkids be able to go hunt turkeys on a regular basis, because it's sure a lot of fun, and it's certainly addicting, and they're wonderful on the table. A friend of mine won the permit this year, Dan Mosier, and he took advantage of the extra opportunity. Our season opens up on May 1st, but a lot of the calling and breeding and ability to draw a turkey is actually better in April. So he was able to go down before the season opened and shot a wonderful bird that, from Alberta standards, he shot a real trophy turkey.
Yeah. Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and turkey's one of those tags that 12 months a year, actually, it adds a lot to it, because you can hunt a turkey any time of year. Obviously, they don't respond to calls quite as well in other times of year, but I mean, other jurisdictions have fall seasons for turkey as well. So, it's something where if you want to spend your summer sort of scouting out and finding where they are, you could shoot one, in the middle of August, and, it's just as good. Yep.
Their beards just continue to get longer.
Yeah, exactly. They don't drop their beard, they just don't call as much in the rest of this season, but if you scout them, you can still find them, no doubt about it. So yeah, it could be a lot of fun to do that for sure.
Absolutely. I'm just going to remind people again that you go to that Alberta Conservation Association site, Minister Special License, and everything is run through Raffle Box.
Yes.
And that makes it real easy.
It does.
You click on the link, it opens up Raffle Box, and there's big squares there that have pictures of all the different species available. And you click on one to buy your raffle ticket for that species. So whether it's sheep, elk, or moose, or any of them, you just click through, purchase them. You can use Google Pay, or you can put in a credit card number. Really easy to do. You purchase one species, you can actually go back to the draw page, and when you scroll to the bottom, there's hot links for the other one, so you can actually buy them one after another right off the same page.
Yep, and we'd placed restrictions on the total number of raffle tickets you could buy in the first 2 weeks to ensure that everybody had an opportunity to buy. But that's off now. So if you want to go in and buy $10,000 worth of tickets, you go right ahead. In fact, I would encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah, if you're a statistician, you can look at the odds of winning that by buying a certain number of tickets, and that's why it has been restricted.
Yep.
Because in the past, there were some people that just bought all the tickets.
Yeah.
Because it is that good of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, for sure. I encourage people to go take a look. And like we said at the beginning, if you don't win, you still win, in that conservation is still being supported. And, maybe something like we get more turkeys in the province because of the money you spent on the raffle tickets in the first place.
Yes, and that is the win. So
yeah, absolutely.
Support the MSL. Thanks to Alberta Conservation Association this year for taking it over, administering it, making sure that it continues, offering great and unique opportunities to Alberta residents, and setting up such an easy system to purchase the tickets. It looks great.
Well, thanks, yeah. And, hopefully everybody goes and sees how great it looks.
Yep. So don't waste any time. You got till August 10th. Go buy your tickets and watch for it again next year.
Yep, sounds good.
We hope to inspire people to reconnect with nature and appreciate where your food comes from by harvesting your own. For more information on getting started, or to learn specifics about the Field to Fork experience, visit harvestyourown.ca and follow on Facebook and Instagram. Check back often for new material, recipes, and videos that are posted regularly. Please subscribe to Harvest Your Own podcast and take the time to rate and review the show to help us build a dedicated core of passionate hunters as our regular audience. Until next time, embrace the outdoors and all it has to offer. Thanks for joining us.